he wept. I do not believe that Jesus was weeping because Lazarus was dead, because that was the reason he went there, to raise him from the dead. And also, he deliberately did not go until he had been dead in the grave for 4 days. So it wasn't a matter of feeling sorrow because Lazarus was dead. I believe it was because the people there did not believe. And so he says that they may believe. That's what it's all about. That we may believe. Now, Mary and Martha had to exercise some faith. Now, when Jesus gets there, see, God won't do your part, and you can't do his part. They had a part to play, a role to do. They had to exercise some faith. That when he says, show me where you laid him, Jesus did not need them to show him where Lazarus was. But they had to exercise the faith to show him where the grave site was. And then he said, roll away the stone. That was exercising faith. But they said, by this time, he stinketh. But they exercised faith and rolled away the stone. They could do that. They had done their part. So after you have done your part, God will do his part. And he says to Lazarus, Lazarus, come forth. Now, mind you, Lazarus had been dead for 4 days. By this time, he was stinking and decaying. There were no brain waves. There was no heartbeat, no blood flowing, no lungs beating, nothing. But when Jesus speaks to a situation, it has to reverse and go back to its original state, the way God wanted and intended it to be. Lazarus, when Jesus said, come forth, brain waves started moving. The lungs started pumping air. The heart started pumping blood through the vessels. And the decayed body went into reversal because Jesus spoke to that situation. He said, only believe. If thou wouldest believe, thou shouldst see the glory of God. All he's asking us to do is to believe, to choose to believe, because it is a choice. They chose to believe, and Lazarus was raised from the dead. They received their brother back from the dead because they chose to believe. You must believe. We'll go to Matthew and take a look at chapter 9, and we'll start reading at verse 27. It says, and when Jesus departed thence, 2 blind men followed him, crying and saying, Thou Son of David, have mercy on us. And when he was come into the house, the blind men came to him, and Jesus said unto them, Believe ye that I am able to do this? The first question he asked them was, do you believe? If you're going to get something from Jesus, you must believe. He said, do you believe that I am able to do this? Do you believe that Jesus is able to do it? That's the question. And there were many times when Jesus said, be it according to your faith. According to your faith, not his faith, your faith. It's all about your faith in him, what he's able to do. Jesus said to the woman with the issue of blood, he said, woman, thy faith, not my faith, he said, thy faith has made thee whole. After bleeding for 12 years, went to all the doctors, spent all her money, her hope was gone. But she said, if I could but touch the hem of his garment, I know I shall be made whole. And when she touched his garment, immediately the blood stopped, and she knew within herself that she had been healed. And Jesus said, who touched me? And they said, you see the crowd throwing in you and bumping you and touching you, but you asked the question, who touched me? In other words, they said, it could have been anyone. But Jesus was not talking about that bump or that accidental touch. He was talking about a touch of faith. She touched him by faith. She did not have to hug him or kiss him. She just touched the hem of his garment, and because of her faith, virtue went out of Jesus into her body and healed her. And he said, I know somebody touched me because virtue went out of me. Power went out of me. And she confessed and told him why she touched him. It was I. And he said, woman, thy faith has made thee whole. And that's what it takes. You must believe. You must trust God. You must choose to believe. So after he said to these men, believe ye that I am able to do this? He asked them. They said unto him, yea, Lord, yes. They said, yes, we believe. We believe you're able to do it. Then touched he their eyes, saying, according to your faith, be it unto you. It was according to their faith. He said, you want it? You can have it. But it's according to your faith. It's all about you. We put too much on God when God is going to do his part. But we just have to do our part. God has no problem doing his part. God has no problem raising the dead, healing the blind, getting rid of cancer, getting rid of high blood pressure. It doesn't matter what it is. There's nothing too hard for God. See, with men, it's impossible. But with God, all things are possible if you only believe. And so it says, according to your faith, be it unto you. And their eyes were open, and Jesus straightly charged them, saying, see that no man knoweth. And when they believed, their eyes were open. When you believe, something happens. You must choose to believe. You can't even be saved except you believe. Jesus said, he that believeth and is baptized shall be saved, but he that believeth not shall be damned. So you're going to have to believe to the point to where you act on it. If you don't believe it's necessary to be baptized, you're not going to act on it. He said, he that believeth and is. If you believe, you will. But you're not going to get out of this world and go home with Jesus without being baptized. You must believe. And then he said, and these signs shall follow them that believe. That you can cast out devils. You will speak with new tongues. You're not going to get the Holy Ghost speaking with new tongues or other tongues if you don't believe it's going to happen. Or if you don't believe that it's necessary. If it was not necessary, Mary would not have been in that upper room on the day of Pentecost and got the Holy Ghost speaking in tongues like everybody else did. In that room were about 120. The apostles were there, and the Bible said, and they were all filled with the Holy Ghost and began to speak with other tongues as the Spirit gave them utterance. They had to have faith to go up in that room and wait until they had been endued with power from on high. They had to wait. And they were there 10 days waiting. And no one left. And God rewarded their faith. And so it's all about choosing to believe. Let's go to Matthew. Our time is about up, but let's go to Matthew real quick. In 21, Matthew 21. We'll take a look at that. Matthew 21, and we'll start reading at 28. And Jesus is saying here, he's talking here, and he says, "What think ye? A certain man had 2 sons, and he came to the first and said, Son, go work today in my vineyard. He answered and said, I will not. But afterwards he repented and went. And he came to the second and said likewise. And he answered and said, I go, sir, and went not. Whether of the twain did the will of his father? They said unto him, the first. Jesus said unto them, Verily I say unto you, that the publicans and the harlots go into the kingdom before you. Because some people are self-righteous. The Pharisees and the Sadducees, they were self-righteous. And they were trying to go to heaven on their own merit, on what they believed. But they had a zeal, but not according to knowledge. So it doesn't matter who you are. The publicans were hated and despised. It doesn't matter who's hated and despised. It doesn't matter if you're a harlot. It doesn't matter if you're a drug addict. It doesn't matter what you are and who you are and where you came from and what your background is. It doesn't matter if you're rich or poor. It doesn't matter. As long as you believe, you can be saved. As long as you believe. Jesus said, only believe. Your situation can be changed if you only believe. You must choose to believe. May God bless. Alfonso Coble at sbcglobal.net